All right, cool. So we'll get started.
Okay.
Um, Ruthie Foster, how you doing today?
I am doing swell.
Swell. That's a good word. I like swell.
I'm bringing it back. Yeah.
Bringing it old school. There you go. So you are a Grammy winner, multiple Grammy nominee, 6 times. You won the Grammy this past year, 2025, for the Best Contemporary Blues Album for your album Mileage.
Yep.
And you have a new album coming out on Sun Records, which we love. That's a legendary
Yes.
label. The new record is Just Say Yes. That's coming out August 28th. And 10 tracks, really awesome. I was checking that out. Awesome blues, but more than blues, I would say.
Yeah.
So tell me about, well, first of all, tell me about the Grammy. That must have been so exciting. After getting all the nominations, then you win finally, right?
Yeah. And on top of that, I wasn't there. I wasn't there to accept it. I was on a cruise. I was on a blues cruise.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Yeah, with my blues family. But yeah, it was wow. Just to hear your name in the category is a
Right.
big deal. And they put your picture up when they're, announcing everyone's name in that category. And I remember that feeling from being there 5 times before
Right.
and thinking, okay, here we go. Is it going to be a trip up there or a trip to the bar? So we'll see.
Which could both be okay at different times. So yes.
Yeah. But this time it was a little bit of both. I was at the Houston airport when I found out at
Mm.
gate C4 at a bar. So I got the best of both worlds. Hear my name called as a winner, and I'm at a bar and celebrating with everybody, all the other travelers at this place. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
and there's a lot of heavyweights in that category, a lot of legends, and I mean you're a legend too, but it's nice to be like to have people that are your peers voting for the Grammys, and talk about that.
Yeah, and I consider all of them friends or, just acquaintances, people I've been on the road with. I've actually sung with Shamika Copeland.
Right.
She called me and gave me just a big warm congratulations. And Joe Bonamassa.
I love Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, so Joe was really sweet. I saw he tweeted something really nice a little bit
Mhm.
after that. Plus, we're still invited on his cruises, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's and it's nice to get the recognition. I mean, obviously you've had a lot of really great success, but it is nice to get that nod and to finally like kind of get that up, get that accolade up on your bio, being a Grammy winner is just a good thing no matter what category you're in, right?
True. And
Yeah,
just being nominated, it's just cool. You feel like you're validated. It felt
right.
very validating. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's a peer thing. So it's people that are musicians and the music community. So that's amazing. You have the new album. Tell me about that because it's 10 tracks, and I should say like I was checking your albums and your voice, and it was like the ultimate soul blues experience because you have such a soulful voice. I used to play with
Oh,
Billy
thank you.
Preston, and it kind of brought me back to Billy's thing with his Hammond organ, and so talk about the new album. And I know you have actually the producers is Tyler Bryant and Rebecca Lovell also worked on this. To talk about making that album,
Yeah, it was really a family affair. It was Tyler, his wife Rebecca, her sister Megan, and Megan's husband Mike he's a piano player on some of these tunes, and I just love hanging out with these guys. They were my co-writers for my last album, Mileage.
right?
Yeah, and so they're the co-writers for my new one too. But yeah, we just have a good time just sitting and talking. They're really good about taking things that I say and they make me stop. Wait, wait, that's a song. That's a song. Let's start from there.
Mm.
And so that's kind of how a lot of the titles came about. That take time, that was just me talking about taking time off the road and having some time to just sit and actually be a mom, get my kid to school, get her back from school. It was about living
Just live,
life.
yeah, living life and enjoying and paying attention and kind of soaking it all in, right?
It really was that. And another title, Sitting Still, that came from really. I was in need of a surgery, a knee surgery, and I was putting it off.
Mm.
And so I did this entire album pretty much on crutches. If you see any
Okay.
videos, you notice I'm not moving a lot.
Yeah, so
So
you had a lot of time on your hands to, to
I
focus on the album.
I did. So that was just about, I think I remember talking to Tyler and saying, time has this way of just reminding you it's okay to sit still.
Mm.
And that's how that one came about. And we just kind of, I let those guys elaborate on, where to start. And then, and I'll jump in here and there. But they're just wonderful to work with.
Mm. That collaboration process for you, have you always been a collaborative songwriter or you kind of been a loner with that? How's that? What's your comfort zone and how's that work for you?
I haven't collaborated a lot, but I do love the idea of having, two people in the room. There's three of us in the room instead of one. I've collaborated here and there, definitely during the shutdown, during COVID. We were all pretty much forced to do that.
Yeah, that's how I started the podcast, actually. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I totally get you.
Yeah. So you spend a lot of time in front of a computer, and I've written songs through Zoom meetings
Mm.
and all of that. But yeah, I'm getting to where I really do like having someone else in the room with different ideas, and you know, it's kind of like it's a relationship, and I'm okay with just having my ideas slapped down and have another idea come up. It's just really
Yeah,
it's growth for me.
yeah, and kind of I was just talking to the ladies, our publicists who are listening, but I was saying, it takes a village because an artist, especially a Grammy-winning artist, you're busy, you're touring, you're writing, you're all that. It's hard to do that by yourself, right?
True. And that makes it a lot more rewarding too.
Mm.
Just to be able to sit in a room with someone too, off tour.
Yeah, and it's nice to have extra sets of ears and get kind of input, like because sometimes it's the stuff you're not going to think about. They go, "How about like you mentioned, like you're talking to them at the studio, and all of a sudden you kind of say something, and they go, "Hey, that's a song idea." Right?
Yeah, I'm just talking and they're busy writing. Tyler does this thing when he just walks around in a circle with a guitar, and Rebecca's great about just, catching things in the air that I'm saying. And I love actually being that person who can introduce them to different artists and
Mm.
different forms of writing that they're not familiar with, you know. I think I remember asking Rebecca if she had heard Janice Inn's at 17, and she hadn't.
Right, right. Because yeah, different generation, maybe. Yeah,
Different generation,
yeah.
yeah. And we sat and listened to that, and she's just, her eyes were open, her mouth's wide open. Oh my God, that's a great song. Yeah, it is, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and it doesn't matter the genre, right? A great song is a great song if it's blues, rock, soul, whatever it is, right?
True, very true.
Mm. You have
Uh,
new. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and that's what I love about Tyler too, being a guitarist, a rock guitarist. This guy can play anything. It's not just rock. He can play blues, which is really how I found him. I saw him play in slide
Mm.
in a video somewhere during lockdown.
Yeah.
His name came up, and then I heard he was from Texas, and I'm thinking,
Hey,
boy,
wait a minute.
I need to meet this guy. Yeah, and I could tell he had an old soul too. Just
Mm.
beautiful, beautiful person.
There's so many great, and there's, again, musicians from blues to country to all sorts of things. On the new album, you actually have two singles that are out, or one that just came out. Talk about the singles that are out. Thank You is one of them. I know.
Yeah, thank you. Came out at the top of the month, and then we've just dropped another one. Take Time. So, and we've got another one planned behind that. So
Awesome.
it's been kind of interesting throwing those in the set that in the shows that we're doing now and introducing those songs. I'm still looking for reactions. The reactions are good, but I'm waiting for people to start singing back to me.
Yeah, well, they're gonna love your voice. No matter what you say, they're gonna love your voice because your voice is for real. And I've been fortunate to hear. I used to work with Phyllis Hyman. I worked with some great singers. I'm also a musician, and I can when I hear a great voice like that, and it's also a voice of experience,
Oh,
which is what you have, which is amazing. Um,
thank you.
you're very welcome. Talk about some of your early influences, just singing, songwriting wise. You mentioned Genesis Ian, but who were some of the people you were listening to as a young artist?
Wow. A lot of gospel artists starting out. Mahalia Jackson, Aretha, of
Yep.
course. Um, Phoebe Snow was one of my favorites.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was just something about the woman with the guitar kind of thing that drew me to her. And a lot of Stevie Wonder. Um, there's so many blues um, singers too. Lightning Hopkins for sure, because a lot of the Hopkins family, they're still in Houston, and Milton
Right, right.
Hopkins his nephew still plays. So
Legendary family, actually. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it is. So I grew up listening to a lot of blues. My dad was a huge blues fan, still is. And Howlin' Wolf was his favorite, so I grew up hearing a lot of Howlin' Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, all legends. Yeah, Phoebe Snow. Wow.
Hmm.
It's so good. You talked about, I was just kind of reading that you mentioned about your identity as a blues performer because you kind of do more than blues. And which I think is great. I think it's good to explore everything. But talk about that a little bit and how you've dealt with that. I know a lot of others, Joe Bonamassa, you mentioned, he's dealt with that a little bit too. Talk about how you've dealt with that.
Yeah, being called a blues singer.
Yeah, well, finding your place because some people will say rock, they'll say blues, they'll say soul, but to me, it's all in the same family. So,
Yeah, it is. To me, it is all in the same family. And I grew up with gospel, and gospel and blues are just the same thing to me.
mm,
You listen to Ray Charles, a lot of those changes that you hear, and they're gospel changes, the early Ray Charles stuff.
yep, yep,
And because piano was my first instrument, and that's how
mm,
I got into the whole gospel um, sound, and then moved over to guitar around the same time, really. And that's kind of what separated me in the churches when I played in churches when,
yeah,
being a young,
because it was
uh,
mostly piano and Hammond, right?
yeah.
Yep.
So, this little black girl that could play, she could play some guitar
And she could
too.
sing too.
Yeah, so that got me invited to a lot of churches,
Mm.
a lot of black churches and white churches, and that was my upstart with music, and it was mostly gospel. I was even writing gospel songs at the time. We're talking 13, 14 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah, so eventually I just kind of, and at the time I was doing a lot of studying Beatles songs, James Taylor, because I
okay.
wanted to get a little bit better with my playing. And James Taylor's just a wicked finger picker.
He's a beast of a guitar player. People don't realize, and just as Aretha was a killer piano player too, right?
Right. And I
Yeah.
love that. I even got a chance to tell him that
Ah,
when I had a
awesome.
chance to sing with him. I even got a chance to even pull him to the side and ask, what is that chord? And he just smiled at me and said, I don't know. It
Yeah,
sounds good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because he's a very like I don't know if he was. Yeah, I think he was kind of a self-taught guy, but yeah. I mean, and obviously too another thing, the other tie-in with the songwriting because what a great songwriter, right?
Yeah. And that's
Mm.
when I just got into more songwriting the older I got and went off to study music. I was at a music school in Waco.
Ah,
And
okay.
that got me into, a blues band and jazz. And of course, you had to learn how to compose. So I had to compose for a big band. And you get a little, the training was everywhere, and you just kind of stay there for 2, 3 years until something sticks. Nothing stuck. I just loved it all,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which
And
is
it takes a while to figure out who you are, not only as a human but as an artist, right?
yeah. So I just took it. I would take home a banjo for a week, or I'd take a saxophone home for a
Mm.
week. and that was what was great about going to a school like that. It's being exposed to everything, and you can figure out what you want to do later. Blues was something I just kind of fell into. I guess it found me. And that started when I was probably about 19, maybe 20 years old. I was in a blues
Mm.
band. Didn't know anything about how to sing blues,
Yeah.
I'm just
Trying to find
repeating,
you're trying to find your footing and find your place. And, yeah.
yeah, just kind of, repeating what I'm hearing. But it
Mm.
wasn't until a little bit later, not that much later, I found that I found myself turning to the blues as I was going through things. When life hits you and when
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the
It's
break,
coming for you.
yeah, the breakups and, and
Oh yeah,
then
yeah. But
the
then again, you sometimes you
startups.
get your best songs from that.
Yes, I've gotten some great
Hey,
songs.
that's the Taylor Swift story, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's worked out okay. So
yeah. Who's it? Lucinda Williams talks about that too. She's like,
yeah, listen.
yeah, it's like she's like, I'm happy now. I can't write because I'm so happy.
Well, do you find and talking about that because I'm talking to a lot of songwriters, especially these days, and do you find that songwriting is really cathartic for you? That it kind of just gets that stuff out, and you get better on the other side of it.
Absolutely. I was just telling somebody this the other night. One of my best friends and I was telling her, girl, this is just therapy. It's
Mm,
therapy for me. And it helps me get through, hard times. It helps me get through those, what I call blue days. When I have a blue day, I can
mm.
always pick up the guitar. In fact, I just put one down right before we started talking and realized I've got to get myself ready for this conversation. But yeah, it has a way of, I'm looking at a guitar right now. It just has a way of inviting you into yourself
Mm.
for me. And it's where I can be honest with myself.
Yeah, and when that grabs your soul, it's real powerful. Like when you're young and you're a young person trying to figure out what you're going to do with the world, and the music grabs you, it's almost like you can't deny it, right?
Very much so. Yeah. And I've been writing for a long time and then they're not all great songs,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it,
yeah. It's a
but
process. Yeah.
it is. And that's part of it. It's just getting you through it. And I think that's important. It's just important.
How important is playing live for you? Because it sounds like that's something you really love to do. And also, you mentioned trying out new material. Talk a little bit about that. And was that something that came naturally for you, playing in front of an audience, or does that you had to work your way into it? You're
It
shaking your head,
was
so
it was not natural at all because
right.
I was a shy kid.
Mm.
I was that kid that, I grew up in that generation where, you're seen but you're not heard.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah. Yep.
don't say anything around grown-ups. So I was a really quiet kid. And in fact, I would sit and play the guitar in my room at, 12, 13. And I remember my mother coming in and she just burst the door wide open and she says, "Girl, open your mouth and sing."
Do it like
Because,
you mean it.
yeah, right. Because I come from a family of singers. I did
Oh,
not
okay.
want to be a singer. I just wanted to play piano and,
Mm.
be the background person. Mahalia Jackson's piano player.
Right, right. It'd be
That's what I,
the killer background singers with the Stones and this. Right, yeah, I get it.
yeah, that's all I wanted to
I get
do.
it. Yeah,
I just want to hang on the bus and eat good food and it's time to play. Let's play.
exactly. Yeah, that's not a bad way to go.
No, it's not. My mother pushed me into singing more. And so, yeah, singing live, it was not natural. It was definitely something um, I was, still becoming who I am when I
Mm.
started singing in front of people. We're talking 19, 20 years old, singing in a blues band. Guitar player breaks a string and he tells me, talk to the people. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to say.
You
I'm
like
here to
the
sing.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But people, you know what? The thing is, if you're on, well, first of all, you got a killer voice. But then if you once you find your footing, then you start feeling them come with you. But
Yeah,
again, that's a process, right? You're not no very few people are actually born with that, I think.
very few. I'm
Mm.
still working on it. Every audience is different. So for me, when I come to a room, a new room, an auditorium, a theater, I let the room tell me what's going to happen. I write a set list, but it's really just an outline.
Yeah.
Just to remind me you know, I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget this song. Put that in there somewhere. And my guys are very good about my intros. I chat a lot now. I didn't always, but
Mm.
as you become more comfortable with yourself, I think that's really, what it is. And having these songs, having the stories and knowing the stories behind these songs and giving that to people, I think
Mhm.
that's important too. I don't do it for every song. We will just, maybe do two or three in a row, but then I'll slow things down and stop and talk about a song.
Yeah, and
Uh,
people like to know the stories behind the songs, especially songs that they love and they fall in love with, right?
yeah. And I find that really fascinating because I think I'm a chatterbox on stage. But I went from not saying anything to just, I'll just talk about anything. Somebody's down front. Hey, you were at a concert last week. You're following me. Okay, we're gonna put you to work. You're gonna help me sell CDs tonight, right? It's just
Yeah,
making
it's
stuff up.
having fun, right?
Making
Yeah.
stuff up. Yeah, and it's just having fun. It really is. And I get the feedback at the merch table and how people really love that. And
Hmm.
I'm just making it real. It's a real experience for me, just as much as it is for you to
Yeah,
come
yeah.
hear
And you know
us.
what? I mean, at the end of the day, being an artist is all about connecting. It's connecting, sharing joy, sharing the love. And if you can do that, then they're gonna follow you down the road.
It's very true. I learned that by watching a lot of great performers. And I think that's another thing. I spent years just studying people from I love Eric Bibb. Eric
Mm.
Bibb is one of my
Yep.
favorite songwriters. And the way he engages an audience is just beautiful. And even just silent moments.
Yep. No, don't be
And
afraid of it. Yeah.
right.
Because a lot of artists are afraid of the silence. So,
Yeah, they
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
are.
But
I
that's
know
mature. That's maturity, right?
it is. It's about doing a lot of it. And gosh, I've watched, I'm looking at, I've got old DVDs here of watching Springsteen on stage,
Hmm.
watching how these guys, these particular entertainers, they entertain, but they're really engaging when they do speak to people. They
Hmm.
speak to their audience, not at the audience.
Yeah, and they listen. And part of performing is listening. And like
It
you said,
really is.
paying attention. That's being in the moment and it's all that stuff. If you
Hmm.
could, because you've been doing this, you're at the highest level really you're going to get with the Grammy Award and everything else. What's some advice for a young artist that you could give? Because you've definitely learned some stuff along the way. What's a couple of things that really stand out for you?
Gosh, we've talked about a lot of them, and that is pay attention, get out and watch the greats and watch just go see live music and watch someone who's really, really good with connecting to the audience. Um, that's part of your work. And it's also how you get to the good songs too. You get to songs that are part of who you are. People just really want to know who you are.
Hmm.
I get this message from my PR people all the time. They just want to know who you are, Ruthie. Show them that you can cook, in the kitchen, right? Show them how you can. So there's that side of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, it really is about watching the greats because there's a lot to be learned from watching really, really great performers. Um, be true to your writing because people sense when you're not
Hmm.
there.
Not being real. Yeah.
Yeah, and be present. That's the thing I get with my audience. The other night I was in Grass Valley, California, and I'm just talking in between a song, and someone just they asked me a question. It turned into a Q&A, but I think it was because they were relating to me,
Yeah, they felt like they knew you. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I
But
even,
that's good that you're right on it when that's happening because that's accomplishing your goal, I think.
yeah, I think that's what happened. I took it as I made a little joke of it. Oh, we're doing the Q&A part of the concert. Okay. And she just wanted
Yeah.
to know how long you've been playing that guitar. It was
Mm.
that kind of thing. And with experience, I was able to segue into the next song, which was about my guitar. So that comes from experience, really.
Mm.
And messing up. It's okay to mess up. Just move on. I've worked in
And
TV
sometimes they
before.
like that better when you mess up. It makes you human, right?
They do. They do.
Yeah.
I've studied broadcasting and I used to work behind the camera of newscasts a lot. And it would happen. Inevitably, it would happen. The weather guy walks right in front of the camera, not realizing you're live.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
first thing we say to each other in the headset, well, that happened, and that's history. You move on, right?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing when you,
Nobody died. We're all good. Just
yeah,
keep moving. Exactly.
no,
Yeah.
nobody got hurt. We're good.
Nobody got hurt. There you go. That's a better term. Uh, how come mine and like I know you're on all the streaming outlets, which is how part of how I found you, but talk about that if you could.
Talk about what now?
Just
The
how
stream.
people can find you and like, do you have a
Oh,
website? And so I know you're on social media and all that.
yeah. Yeah. All over social media. You can find me at Amazon Music, Spotify, um, YouTube, there's all kinds of versions of Ruthie out there. Young Ruthie, little Ruthie, skinny Ruthie, to
It's still you though. It's all good.
yeah, it's still me.
We're all kind of all those things, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you are a busy lady, and I love what you're doing. I think you're right on target, obviously, and a lot of people agree with me for
Thank
sure.
you.
And it's awesome that you're with Sun Records. I love the label, and I love Laura over there, and what they're doing is really pretty neat as well. So thank you so much, Ruthie. I really appreciate your time.
You are so welcome. Thank you for the conversation.
Awesome. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to see you live sometime soon.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day.
Thank you, dear.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.